ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ದಾಖಲೆಗಳ ಸಮೇತ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇದು ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಕೊರೋನಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ರೋಗ ಅಲ್ಲವೇ ಅಲ್ಲ. 2019ರಲ್ಲಿ 5G ತರಂಗಾಂತರ 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕನ್ನು 4G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ನಿಂದ 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ಗೆ ಏರಿಸುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೇಳದೆ ಕೇಳದೆ ಪ್ರೀ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ಡ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಮೊದಲೇ ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನು ಸಾವು ನೋವು ಸಂಭವಿಸುತ್ತದೆ ಎಂದು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು ಮೊದಲೇ. ವಿಶ್ವಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇಶಗಳು ಅಂಕಿತವಾಗಿವೆ. ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಜನಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ನ್ಯೂ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ತರಬೇಕು ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇಶದವರು ಸೈನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ವಿಶ್ವಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾವು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರೀ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇಶದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಂಕಿತವಾಗಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇಶದ ಪ್ರೀ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ಡ್. ಇದು ರೋಗವಲ್ಲ. ಇದು 5G ತರಂಗಾಂತರ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗುವುದರಿಂದ ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಹ್ಯುಮಿನಿಟಿ ಪವರ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ ಅವರು ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಉಸಿರಾಟ ತೊಂದರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಮತ್ತು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೋಗಗಳಿಂದ ಬಳಲುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಇವರು ಏನೆಂದು ಮೀಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ವೈರಸ್, ಈ ವೈರಸ್ಸಿಂದ ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಜನಗಳು ಸಾಯುತ್ತಾರೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಅಂತಂದು ಸುಳ್ಳನ್ನು ಹರಡಿ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಲಾಕ್ಡೌನನ್ನು ಹೇರಿ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನನ್ನು ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಸಾವು ಸಂಭವಿಸಿದ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದು ಪ್ರೀ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಗಿ ಜನಗಳನ್ನು ಸಾಯಿಸಲಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಕೊರೋನಾ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನನ್ನು ಹಾಕುತ್ತಾರೆ ಈ ಜನರು. ಅಮೇರಿಕಾದಿಂದ ಬಂದ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಇದು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದ ಮೇಲೂ ಹೇರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಂಡಿಯಾದವರು ಇದನ್ನು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದ ಜನಗಳ ಮೇಲೆಯೂ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನೇರ ಹೊಣೆ ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮತ್ತು ಅಮೇರಿಕಾದ ಬಂಡವಾಳಶಾಹಿಗಳು ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥ ಪಿತೂರಿಯಿಂದಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಜನಗಳು ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಸಾಯುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಉಸಿರಾಟ ತೊಂದರೆ, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್, ವಿವಿಧ ರೋಗಗಳಿಂದ ಸಾಯುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಜನಗಳ ದಾಖಲೆ ಸಮೇತ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇವಿಗೆ ಸಾವುಗಳಿಗೆ ನೇರ ಹೊಣೆ ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮತ್ತು ಅಮೆರಿಕ ನೇರ ಹೊಣೆಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಯಾವುದೇ ಲಸಿಕೆ ಬರಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಆಲೋಚಿಸಿ ಹಾಕಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಆಗಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಆಗಲಿ. ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಸಹಿತ ಅವರು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಿನ್ನೆ ವಿಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೂಫನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರನ್ನು ತರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ, ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಎಂಬ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ. ಆ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಶಾಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಗುವಿಗೂ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಹಾಕಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ ಎಂದು ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಿದೆ. ಅವರ ವಿಶ್ವಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಮುಂದಿನ ಉದ್ದೇಶವೇನೆಂದರೆ ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿಸಿ ಜನರನ್ನು ಸಾಯಿಸಲು ಹೊರಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಎಕಾನಮಿಕ್ ಫಾರಮ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಲ್ ಗೇಟ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ನಾನಾ ರೀತಿಯ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಅಮೆರಿಕದ ಬಂಡವಾಳಶಾಹಿಗಳು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾರೆ, ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಜನಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇವೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ನಾವು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇವೆ, ನೀವು ತರುತ್ತೇವೆ ಮತ್ತು 750 ಕೋಟಿ ಜನಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯನ್ನು ನಾಶ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇವೆ ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂದು ನೀವು ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಎಕಾನಮಿಕ್ ಫಾರಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಂದು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಒಬ್ಬ ಅಮೆರಿಕದ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಮಗಳು ಸಹಿತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾಳೆ, ಬಿಲ್ ಗೇಟ್ಸ್ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದಾಖಲೆ ಸಹಿತ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ದಾಖಲೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೇನೆ,
ನೋಡ್ಬಿಡಿ. ಇದನ್ನ ಘನವೆತ್ತ ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಅಫಿಡವಿಟ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೇ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚುನಾವಣಾ ಭಾಷಣ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಇದೇ ನಾಯಕರುಗಳ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಹೋದಂತ ಅಫಿಡವಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ನಾವ್ ಯಾರಿಗೂನು ಕೋವಿಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯ ಮಾಡೇ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಫಿಡವಿಟ್ ಯಾರು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಓದ್ಕೋಬೋದ್ರಿ ಇದನ್ನ. ನಾವ್ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಲಸಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಹೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಲವಂತ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಒತ್ತಾಯ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಲಸಿಕೆ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಅವರ ಇಷ್ಟ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಅದು ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಈ ಲಸಿಕೆಯಿಂದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಲಸಿಕೆ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಕಂಪನಿ ಹೊಣೆಯೇ ಹೊರತು ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರವಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತು. ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನ ಮುಂದೆ ಭಾರತದ ಘನ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವ ಅಫಿಡವಿಟ್ ಇದು. ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಅವ್ರ ಸಾವಾಯಿತು, ಇವ್ರ ಸಾವಾಯಿತು, ಅವ್ರ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ನಿಮ್ದೇನಪ್ಪ ವಾದ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ಗೂ ನಮಗೂ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾವ್ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ನೆನಪಿದ್ರೆ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕಂತೆ, 2 ಡೋಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೇಬೇಕಂತೆ, ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಇರಲೇಬೇಕಂತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ರೈಲ್ವೆ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸೇರಿಸಲ್ವಂತೆ, ಏರ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಬಿಡಲ್ವಂತೆ, ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲೂ ಬಿಡಲ್ವಂತೆ, ಮಾಲ್ಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಬಿಡಲ್ವಂತೆ, ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೂ ಬಿಡಲ್ವಂತೆ. ಇದು ನಿಜಾನ ಸುಳ್ಳಾರಿ ತರಹ ಒಂದು ಭಯವನ್ನ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಅನೇಕ ಕಡೆಗಳಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಂಟ್ರಿಯನ್ನ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಬಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸೇರಿಸಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ತಡೆದಿದ್ದು ನಿಜಾನ ಸುಳ್ಳ. ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? ಹೋಗಿ ಎಲ್ರೂ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾಗಿ.
4 fires, all at cell phone towers, caused over $500,000 damage. Memphis investigators say all the fires were set intentionally.
WMC Action News 5's Ariana Poindexter explains the impact this destruction could have for residents.
These 4 cell towers, all just miles apart, are the center of an arson investigation.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
People are burning down cell towers to protect their children. People are burning down cell towers to protect themselves. Because people know that these cell towers are just like the vaccines. At first they told us it was safe and effective. Then we found out. That they had 10 pages of side effects. Then we found out that they tried to bury the evidence for 50 years. They didn't want people to know for 50 years that the vaccines were making people sick in a way that looked just like the COVID. They don't want people to know what's going on. That's why they're silencing and censoring everyone. But the truth is coming out. This technology is dangerous in every form. And there's tens of thousands of scientists that are telling us this. They're screaming about it, just like the vaccines. And even the news now is trying to tell you that these cell towers are causing cancer.
Causing cell phone tower on a school campus. Well, now that is being removed in the near future. Cancer-causing cell phone tower on a school campus. Well, now that is being removed.
So these cell towers are causing cancer. Schools are not only trying to remove these things, but they're also now putting up shielding to protect their students and their children. That's how bad it is. And according to the FCC regulations, people can't oppose these things for health concerns, specifically. And so you know they're dangerous. The television is telling you they're dangerous now. But the government is like, you can't object over health concerns. Again, it's just like the vaccines. These things are a Trojan horse. And they cause a lot more than just cancer, to say the least. These things are a weapon system in disguise. They're militarized. But before we get into that, know this, that the same people that own these cell towers are the same people that own the hospitals and the pharmacia. It's the same people that are poisoning the food, the air, and the water. They want to make people sick because they make money on the back end. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for testing and therapies and the like. It's big business for them to make people sick. And they own the government. They own the media. They control the information. And they're even rigging the election so that you can't opt out. And so this is a travesty on every level. People shouldn't just be burning down cell towers. They should be burning down these corrupt politicians that have parked these death towers in everybody's neighborhoods. It's unimaginable to think that you have a death tower right across the street from you or parked right on your school. These things have a range of up to 250 miles. But there's a reason why they're parking them in everybody's neighborhood, and it has to do with the beamforming technology that makes these things work now. These things are actually projecting beams at people.
And these are being placed every block here in San Francisco. There's now thousands of these placed right outside people's homes. So I'm at the same level as one of these antennas to show you what the microwave radiation exposure would be if you had one of these right outside your home. So you'll hear what this sounds like. Plus you'll see that this is thousands of times higher than you'd want to constantly be exposed to.
If you had a radio that could pick up these frequencies, that's what it would sound like. Intense pulsing action. And this is what biologists are warning people about. It's this pulsing action that has detrimental effects on cellular biology. We're not going to get into all of that again. But here's the big kicker. This technology is now weaponized. It's a Trojan horse parked in everybody's neighborhood, and it's shooting beams at people. And these beams are part of a weapon system, part of a social credit score system that's been rolled out secretly by the deep state, by the government, by the WEF, and the like. And as soon as you get flagged on social media, basically you get on the red list, and these things follow you everywhere and beam you everywhere to mimic disease, heart attacks, strokes, and cancers. Government insiders are telling us this. People that worked at the NSA and DHS are telling us this. Weapons experts are telling us this. Victims are telling us this. The news, 60 Minutes, is telling us this, but they're blaming the Russians. Oh, it's the Russians. It's not our cell towers. It's the Russian cell towers. Yeah. So basically people need to know that they're parking these things outside your home so that they can target you, make people sick, and basically emulate disease. At first they rolled out the 5G, and then people started getting sick. That's not a coincidence. That's called cause and effect. And now they can make people sick at the push of a button, and then they come on the news and they're like, oh, come get your vaccine. Talk about a sales pitch. It doesn't get better than that. And they made billions and trillions of dollars doing just that. Just ask Bill Gates. And they're coming back for more. Disease X style. This is a business opportunity that's too good to pass up. But they're not just parking these things outside of your door, you know, for better reception. They're parking these things outside of your door to better target you. And these beams go right through walls. And, you know, it's basically the reason why they took out lead, you know, from the paint and the like. They don't want people protecting themselves from this technology. They don't want people aware. They want to silence everyone. Now, we did a report from Telstra not that long ago where they're actually demonstrating this beamforming technology and how it follows the person. And you could actually see the spikes on these different probes as the beam is following the target, the victim. And so you can see this effect again as the target is walking, the beam is following the victim, and the beam is at least 5 meters wide. So, you know, when you see graphics like this isn't some kind of like, you know, fear porn or fear mongering. This is exactly what's going on. They're beaming people like the Starship Enterprise, and they're making people sick, and tons of people have been killed by this technology in a very aggressive way. If you look at these Havana Syndrome videos, there's tons of people in the comments, me too, me too. People are being targeted right now as the system is just basically testing it out on civilians like guinea pigs. And the main target right now of this liberal world order, this demonic, satanic world order, the main target is Christians, conservatives, and purebloods. And so if you've been experiencing the 5G symptoms, chronic fatigue, pain not associated with an injury, ringing in the ears, vertigo, heart palpitations, recurring back pains, sudden onset of pain, pain not associated with an injury. Again, these are the classic hallmark signs of targeting. And they can target a specific spot on your body and follow you wherever you go, like cell phone coverage, to make you think like, oh, it's natural. You go to the doctor, you get your medicine, totally oblivious to the energy weapon attacks that are basically being driven by artificial intelligence. And so this thing has a mind of its own, and as soon as you're on the list, as soon as they flag you on social media, basically it's the countdown. You can't imagine how dangerous this system is. That's why we keep raising awareness on it. It's not a joke. And it's all part of the transhumanism. They want to assimilate people. You know, Klaus Schwab is saying you're going to get your brain chip. Elon Musk is saying you're going to get your brain chip. They're serious about it. It's on Time Magazine. It's on National Geographic. It's everywhere. They're coming for you. How bad is the 5G? It's so bad they're desperately trying to bury the evidence, just like the vaccines. With the vaccines, at first they told us it was safe and effective, and then we found out that there were 10 pages of basically the worst side effects known to mankind. And then they tried to bury that information for 50 years. They didn't want you to know what was in it for 50 years. Well, it's basically like that with the 5G, if not worse, because you can opt out of vaccines, but you can't opt out of this 5G technology that's basically everywhere. We're surrounded by this radiation, and it's much worse than you can possibly imagine, as we're going to discover with this Department of Defense report titled Radio Frequency Microwave Radiation Biological Effects and Safety Standards. This is from the Air Force, from the Rome Laboratory in New York, Air Force Base, and it's got the chain of custody documents. It's official, and it goes through all of the diseases that are linked to microwave radiation, and it's shocking. I mean, it causes mutations. It's all the stuff that you know, but more. Heart attacks, strokes, neurological effects, effects on the immune system. It's like, what doesn't this affect, basically? It prevents the cells from basically eliminating toxins from the body. It allows toxins to more readily enter the cells. It affects the immune system. It affects the heart. Everything causes cancers. By the time you get to pathological effects, it becomes clear that this technology is neither safe or effective. They were testing mice for 4.5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, for 59 weeks, and they observed a 35% cancer rate in the white blood cells, leukemias, 35% versus 10% in the control group. And it's like this throughout this study, this paper, this report. Another study, 500,000 people, and it basically links power lines to leukemia, effects on the chromosomes. It basically causes chromosome deletion, chromosome gaps, so on and so forth. And this is even at radiation frequencies that are like the Wi-Fi, 2.5 megahertz or 2500 megahertz, which is 2.5 gigahertz. This is what microwave ovens use, and this is what your Wi-Fi uses, 2.5 gigahertz. Cancer. It causes deletion in the chromosomes. It suppresses the metabolic pathways or the metabolic activity inside the cells. It basically breaks down the cell membranes, making them more permeable to toxins and exosomes. It makes exosomes. It lets exosomes spread more readily, or viruses, if you will. And this is all basically at the 2.5 gigahertz range, 2.9, 2.5, et cetera, et cetera. And these are at rates that people can be exposed to in the urban environments. Lymphomas, blastomas, you name it, all sorts of cancers and the like. But then when it gets to the cardiovascular effects, that's when it gets really shocking. And in this report and another report from the Department of Defense, basically we're looking at, here, let's see if we can read this, quote this. Animal experiments reported in the open literature have demonstrated the use of low-level microwave signals to produce death by heart seizure or by neurological pathologies. So basically a heart attack gun. Low levels. Open literature. Back in the day before it got all political and before it became a multi-billion-dollar industry. Back in the day when, AT&T didn't really care about these types of reports, they were saying in the open scientific literature before it got all woke that even low levels of microwave signals can produce death. Not just heart palpitations or anything like that. Death by heart seizure. So when that happens to a person, what do they say? What do they say on the report? Natural causes, climate change, sudden and mysterious, right? Low levels. It says right here, this is a 1974 document. And it talks about the Soviets, Poland and the like. It's the same genre of this other document, and I'm pretty sure it's the same study that's in the citation. And so we'll provide a copy of this report in our Telegram feed in the comments. But basically, it just goes on and on and on. It affects the blood, how it affects the blood, leukemias, cancers, etc. The nervous system, it just fries your brain, fries the nerves, and the like. And so there's just a long list of diseases and complications, and it affects smell. You get headaches, irritability, increased fatigue. Does this sound familiar? When they rolled out the 5G and people were getting the COVID, people were losing their sense of smell. They had like this, chronic fatigue, right? Remember that? So this is the Pentagon report. Now listen to the dude from the Pentagon tell you the same thing.
The symptoms of acute radiation sickness would be just exactly like a terrible flu. Person would have a headache. They would feel very tired. They would have a little bit of...
they would feel very tired. They would have a headache. Exactly like this report. So this isn't like conjecture. This isn't like some kind of like theory. This is scientific fact. They know that this technology causes all sorts of diseases, and they're hiding it from you, burying it, censoring, silencing the evidence, and, basically like, making fun of people, just like during the pandemic. Oh, you don't want the vaccines. Oh, everything about the masks, et cetera, et cetera. They refuted common sense. They refuted science in the name of their woke politics, and many people died. And it's the same thing with this technology. It's beyond atrocious. And this is just like casual exposure. You can't imagine what it's like getting hit with energy weapons, because that's the new next thing, energy weapons. And it's why we continue to talk about this book, Transhuman Genocide. It talks all about directed energy weapons. It talks all about, the agenda to basically kill people with this technology, because this is now their thing. They don't want to just, get rid of you with vaccines. They're taking people out with these death towers, and basically low levels can cause heart attacks, strokes, cancers, and the like, and it's basically untraceable. They have plausible deniability the whole way as they bury and silence and censor the evidence. It's basically like an outrage. But until, people rise up and take down these death towers, you basically have to protect yourselves and your family and your friends and your pets and everything. And they're going to come after you just for being a conservative and a pureblood, according to weapons experts, government insiders, and the like, and victims online that are screaming about this thing. And even 60 Minutes is doing, report after report on, directed energy weapons, Havana syndrome, and they're like, oh yeah, the Russians did it. It's not the Russians. It's AT&T, Verizon, and the like. It's the deep state. It's the NSA. It's the libtards, because they control all of this technology. Conservatives aren't writing these programs. Conservatives aren't bringing us this technology. It's all libtards, and they're looking at us like we're the enemy. And they're at war, and they're using these cell towers to kill people. This is a fact. Anyone that's experienced electronic attacks from cell towers will tell you, this stuff is real. And it's why, this book covers not only the weapons, but also the solutions. How to make a safe room, how to make body armor, how to make real, military-grade EMF protection that will save you from what's happening and what's to come, because it's only going to get worse as they try to assimilate everyone with their transhuman technology. Come get your brain chip. So you really want to check out this book, Transhuman Genocide. It's on Amazon. You can read a free sample, a couple chapters, and see for yourself, is it worth it? You can get the Kindle version, you can get the soft cover version, you can get the PDF version on our Patreon page, patreon.com/STF News. So get a copy of this thing. We've made it dirt cheap so that people can basically understand what's going on. Books like this can run up to $1,000 on Amazon. We've made it basically free in comparison. And so it's not about the money. It's about getting the message out, how people can protect themselves from these weapons. This book represents years of research and field testing. Research from the top research papers, top minds in electromagnetism, from universities that are basically talking about EMF shielding for various radiation sources, and of course AI research from ChatGPT and the like, and field testing by the human resistance. These methods work that are in this book, and you can find it on Amazon. Transhuman Genocide. Figure out what is happening out there before you become a victim of this climate change, of this transhuman Agenda 21, 2030. You're going to eat bugs. You will own nothing. They're trying to kill everybody. And unless you protect yourself in this asymmetric war, you're going to be a victim. And many people have already been killed already, people that you know. So this is not a joke. These weapon systems have been integrated into the smart city network. They're everywhere. Weapons experts are confirming this. It's in the LED lights. It's the cell towers. It's the smart meters. It's the routers and things that you can't even see. And it's basically, you know, the weapon system is basically embedded at the factory level or hacked in by the NSA. It's beyond imagination. Check out that book, Transhuman Genocide. Until the next time, if you're listening to